I grew up in a small town in India, and I am the eldest of two daughters. I have a younger sister, Suhani, who also now works for Phenomenon. Both my parents are small business owners. My dad has a small engineering company, and my mom is very creative, and she has a art gallery and interior design studio. So I grew up in a teeny tiny town of 200,000 people, which is minuscule for India, but my parents were very progressive. At 15, I decided that I wanted to move out of my town. I just had this vision of myself being a businesswoman sitting behind a big desk. And I told my parents that I wanted to come to America. I think they fell off their chairs that evening at dinner. I was relentless for a year. I said, I have to go. This is my path. So I got admitted to one of the best design schools in India, and my dad said, great. And I said, no, but I really want to go to New York. And this is 20 years ago. No girl, no person in my town at my age had come to New York City to study. And everyone thought my parents were crazy to even entertain the idea. My mom came to me one day, and I still remember it, and it almost makes me cry, but she said to me, I never got to live my dreams, and I want you to. And that kind of changed the course. And I said, this is not just for me, but it's for my parents. And once my parents got on board, I said, okay, this is it. Now I could do it. It just seemed so naive of me that now when I look back, how did I even have the courage to say, yes, I'm going to go to New York? I had never even been on the subway. I didn't know what a bagel was. I didn't know how to operate a washing machine. I mean, just the basic things that one does to get around, I didn't know. It's the lack of knowledge that kind of propelled me. And this optimism, this, that I could do it, this courage that didn't have all the answers. So I came to New York, and I was there in New York City. And then it sunk in the day my parents left. I think my mom cried all the way back to India, and I cried all the way back from JFK on the A train. While I was really upset, I was also very energized by this crazy just buzz that New York has, and I think after that first week, the 4 years in New York were my training ground. It is such a tough place to try to make a career and to try to make something out of yourself when you have nothing. And it's got this history, it's got this can-do attitude, it's got this, grittiness. It just builds you. And I'm so thankful for all those years back in New York. I put myself through college after the first 3 months, and now I just had to, my tuition was taken care of, so I just needed to take care of my own expenses. And I ended up getting a lot of odd jobs and then some internships, so it worked out really well. I was a sponge, like I wanted to learn everything about America. So, that curiosity drove me in a lot of different places, and I sometimes put myself in, dangerous situations, but yeah, I love those times. I wish that this is the thing that I tell every girl. And I said, you know what, New York is a great training ground. You must live in New York at some point in your life. After graduation, I worked at Renegade Marketing Group, which is part of Dentsu. So that job lasted me about 3 years, and I loved it. I got my first taste of advertising and marketing and what it is to build a brand. And then in 2004, the whole global landscape was changing. So every American, European brand came to India, and so they needed advertising support. So Dentsu started offices in India, in Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, and I raised my hand. I went up to my CEO at that time. I was 24, and I said, I really want to be part of the founding team in India. And it turned out a little different than I had expected. I made the jump, I went back to India, and I think that year proved to be one of the hardest in my life. I had just had a very tough run in New York. And then I was in a startup situation with people who were mine, and I felt like this kinship to them, but I was different. I was American now. So I kind of was at a crossroads. I was an Indian, I was an American, and I had kind of an identity crisis because I was different. And I really tried hard to get the best out of that year. That's where I learned how to start a business. I cut my teeth on what it's like to be part of a startup and to grow the company from 0 to 100. It was exciting, but it was scary. And I was so stressed, and I learned a lot. But at the end of that year, I decided that this wasn't for me. I wanted to come back to the States. I wanted to be in an environment that was more conducive to women. So it was a hard decision. That's also the year I met my business partner, Krish. So here we were, two Indians, immigrants, and we wanted to try and do something new. And we came to Los Angeles with nothing. We had this courage and this faith. I think those are the two things that have governed my life, this faith and this courage that everything's going to be okay and we have to give it a try. So it was like first month of trying to run this business, right? We have one client. And we quickly realized like we needed to have some divide and conquer. So he focused on driving new business and I focused on managing the business that we had. We always saw each other as the underdogs, you know. We compared ourselves to the biggest names in the business, Chiat and Deutsch and Ogilvy. And I'm really proud today that we have employees from that agency, you know. It feels good. And today we're at 120 people. We work with some of the biggest brands in the world. Some of our clients are $100 billion companies, and some of our clients are high growth companies who are really, you know, challenging the more mature established brands. And so client-wise, I feel like we couldn't have been more blessed in terms of working with the clients that we do. And then from an employee standpoint, it proves to us that we've got something here. And through that, we've tried to stay humble. I just was in an interview recently and someone said, hey, you know, everybody knows you guys. Everyone knows Fino. And I said, really, they do? And they said, yeah, you guys are a name around town. And I said, you know, it's nice for me not to hear that because it keeps us humble and it keeps us wanting to strive for the stars. And I really look forward to what's to come.
How did you get the company scale from 5 people to 150?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's definitely very challenging. And some companies achieve it organically and some achieve it by acquisition or getting capital in. We bootstrapped the company. We didn't get any external capital. I didn't raise any money. I didn't go VC. I didn't go angel investors. I didn't go private equity. So for us, it was reinvesting our dollars into the business. So that's why the growth was slower. But growth is challenging. I think when you get too many people too quickly and you don't know really where you're going, it could be hard. So it started with us trying to get a management team in place. And I actually went through a few management teams. I didn't know what I was looking for. And I think it's hard being an entrepreneur, being a boss, and assessing your needs because you think you could do everything. To be able to grow the company, I had to realize I'm good at 2 or 3 things, and there are people who are much smarter than me, who have a lot more experience, and I need to start delegating, and I need to define a role for myself. And I think one of the hardest things in the growth phase was trying to control how much I wanted to do and defining more of as I said, a role for myself. So today, I don't work on all client businesses, but I trust my team. And it's taken me 10 years and a couple of trials to find that team. So there's so many learnings, Kalika, in the growth. You know, there's no one answer. What's led to the success is being open to trying everything. I always tell my team, let's try it once. And let's not spend a lot of money trying it, but let's spend a little money and build out a little prototype or a little model. And if it works in the first 30 days or so, we'll keep doing it. And if it doesn't, not a big deal. And I think the last thing is that good people, like good energy, good people, it's so infectious and contagious that I started with a good team of 10 people, and then they bring in better people, and they bring in better people, and good and smart and passionate and driven people all want to work with the same type of people. And I run my business today by my own values, what makes me feel good and what's authentic to me. I love celebrations. I love celebrating things. So we do a lot of partying here and having fun, because I think if you don't understand what it is to have a good life, it's very hard to provide that for your employees. But I want to empower my people to do what they like. I think my core values are, we need to treat people right. We need to do the right thing. It's so important, because everything comes back to you. It's a karma. I think that's it. Everything revolves around that.